Next time on a very spooky fine dining podcast, the season 1 finale, TGI Fridays the 13th. Oh, you betcha, pineapple's gonna hit the fan as Michael's son Juicy, or in this episode, Juice son Voorhees, goes on a murderous rampage, and no one is safe. It gets real spooky, it gets real bloody, and not everyone's gonna make it to the end of the episode. Who will live, who will die? Listen to Fine Dining, the search for the most mediocre restaurant in America, break down a trip to TGI Fridays based on the atmosphere, the service, and the food, and try not to be scared to death. Hear the thrilling finale of Fine Dining, Wednesday, October 25th, wherever you get your podcasts.
Meghan isn't going to the coronation, which can only mean two things. One, she hates this country, and two, they were lying when they said there wasn't room for me there. I'm Harriet Langley-Swindon, and this is Non-Censored. Hello and welcome to Non-Censored, the podcast that wraps up all the best bits from my very real daily radio show into one easy-to-digest highlights package. I'm joined, as ever, by my producer, Martin, and what a show we have this week.
Yes, indeed. We had the leader of the opposition and, full disclosure, a personal friend of mine, Sir Keir Starmer, on to talk about those attack adverts. Eshaan Akbar was here to talk about the Dalai Lama, and we had Professor Godfrey Matthews on to talk about his exciting new book, The Shits That Call the Shots, exposing the elites who are ruining Britain.
But as ever, there was so much we couldn't include. For example, we were having a fascinating conversation with our Scottish correspondent about the SNP's troubles, but our sister Scottish network has said we can't use it.
Yes. We also had a fantastic interview with President Biden, but it was quite a small interview, and I put it down somewhere, and now I can't find it.
Just unprofessional. We were going to have our royal correspondent Nicola Witchell on to talk about the preparations for the coronation, but we went wildly over budget on that. Please see our Kickstarter if you want to help out with it.
Also, please keep sending in your questions for our next Time for Questions episode to noncensoredpodcast@gmail.com. That's noncensoredpodcast@gmail.com. Check out last week's for the sort of thing we're after.
Now, if you're on Twitter, do check out the out-of-context, non-censored Twitter account that someone has set up. Thank you to whoever did that, our first fan content. And all I can say is, what kept you? But let's start with Sir Keir Starmer, who made some outrageous attacks on our Prime Minister. Keir Starmer, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Harriet. Thank you for having me back. Hello, Martin.
Hello, Sir Keir. How are you?
Lovely to see you again.
Oh, yeah.
All
Well,
right, well, we can do...
comes around quicker every time, doesn't it?
Off air, can't we?
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry.
we probably...
It was fun watching Super Mario Brothers the other day, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And what a soundtrack. What a soundtrack, am I right? I mean,
Great movie.
I was humming away.
We'll chat about it later.
Yes, lovely,
yes.
Keir Starmer. But what we're here to talk about is your recent attack ads against the Conservative Party, and in particular, against our Prime Minister.
Yes, it's caused a bit of a hoo-ha.
It really has.
Bit of an
It really
overreaction.
has. And I'd very much like to hear your reasoning behind this. I mean, one of them says, do you think adults convicted of sexually assaulting children should go to prison? Mm-hmm. And then you've got Rishi Sunak doesn't. And you've got a very, I must say, very, very sweet photo of Rishi Sunak accompanying it, looking sort of hopeful and smiley out into the distance.
Bit false, bit slimy, I'd say. Looks like a bit of a wrong 'un, I think, in that
Does
picture.
he look like a wrong 'un, or do your words look like a wrong 'un?
Well, the words are facts, Harriet. I mean, how do you respond to the question? People are saying it's an attack ad, but really, it's a valid question.
Of course Rishi Sunak wants to put away the paedophiles. I mean, we know that the Conservatives are very against paedophiles. In fact, may I remind you, Sir Keir, that they called out Jimmy Savile, and they called out that your part in that, didn't they?
Well then, why have I been scouring YouTube for the last 2 weeks trying to find footage of Rishi Sunak explicitly saying, I think paedophiles should go to prison. I can't find it. I can't find the video clip. And as long as I can't find the video clip, people need to know about it. The same with guns. I cannot find written evidence of Rishi Sunak saying, if you've got a gun, I'll put you in prison. It doesn't exist. So as far as I'm concerned, this stuff has got to get out there.
But I mean,
pretty impressive
come on, it's very unfair, this, because the Conservatives will look up the gunmen. Why are you picking on our Prime Minister? He's our Prime Minister, Sir Keir. I mean, shouldn't there be a bit of respect and not this sort of dirty, foul play? It's just awful.
Now, Harriet, I'm going to step in just because, and this isn't just because Sir Keir is a valued, treasured friend of mine.
Thank you, Martin.
But I think it's important to flag up that these kind of campaign ads, they've been going on for a long time. They're famously slow.
They're very
not from the Conservatives. The Conservatives have never done that. Margaret Thatcher would never stoop so low to do what Sir Keir has done. She would never stoop so low to do that.
No, I think she's done pretty similar.
The famous, what is it, Labour isn't working.
Name it.
With just a long queue.
That was horrible. It was very hurtful. That hurt my feelings.
Oh, come on, no. She wouldn't have overseen that. She doesn't know how to use a photocopier. She's Margaret Thatcher.
Well, I
didn't design the poster. I didn't design the advert, Harriet. I didn't approve it myself.
You did in your head, Sir Keir. You did in your head.
Well, I stand by every single word. I'll ask you a few more questions, Harriet. I'll ask you a few more questions, and let's see whether you think that this is important information.
Yeah.
Do you think that Alan Rickman should be dead?
No, I don't think he should be dead.
Rishi Sunak does. Rishi Sunak thinks he should be dead. Since Rishi Sunak became an MP, Alan Rickman's dead. Do you think David Bowie should be dead? Rishi Sunak thinks he should be dead. Since he became an MP, David Bowie's dead. Alan Rickman's dead. Wogan, dead. All of it has to be for a reason.
Pretty damning stuff.
These are quite strong claims.
That little girl's hair should be ripped out, pulled out from the skull.
Good Lord, that sounds terrible.
That it's, yanked until they're scalped. Rishi Sunak does, because I haven't found a YouTube clip of him explicitly saying that he doesn't think that should happen. I'm saying right now, I don't think we should pull out the hair of little girls. I miss Alan Rickman, I miss Terry Wogan, and I will put my reputation on the line by putting my name behind these commitments. But will Rishi Sunak do it? No, he won't.
Now, see, Sir Keir, I'm realising as you say these, how dangerous your campaign is.
It's not dangerous, it's true.
No, it's dangerous because I hear them and I do start to question. I think, well,
of course,
does Rishi Sunak think Alan Rickman should be dead?
Rishi Sunak presided over Alan Rickman's death. He was in the party of government at the exact moment that Alan Rickman left this mortal plane.
I think you're certainly onto something, Sir Keir. I would be a little hesitant about your over-reliance on YouTube as the main source.
But
I'm pretty,
Producer Martin, you can find a lot out on YouTube.
Yeah, I've looked up Google as well. I've been on Reddit. I still can't find any evidence.
Oh, well, I suppose that is...
Do you think that King Charles III should be eaten by dogs?
Good Lord, no.
No, of course I don't.
Can't find any evidence of Rishi Sunak explicitly saying that it shouldn't happen.
Well, Sir
Do you
Keir,
think we should then stub out cigarettes in the eyes of the dogs?
No, I don't think that.
Nor do I. But does Rishi Sunak think
Can I just say, I think these adverts are very dangerous. Look at what you've done to Producer Martin. Okay, you're already taking the wet centrists and you're turning their minds.
I'm not. No minds have been turned here. I'm just. I think.
Me and Producer Martin are just on a wavelength. We know what's right for the country.
But you think I know what's right for the country?
I don't think this is right for the country.
Yes.
I think this is a smear campaign. This is a smear campaign.
It's not a smear campaign.
It's not a smear campaign. How would you like it if someone did that to you? What if, Sir Keir, someone accused you of going easy on Jimmy Savile?
Well, Boris Johnson did that. He accused me of that.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
He accused me of that.
He did not.
I think he...
No, he did not.
I've addressed this. I refer you to my earlier comments.
No, because he doesn't do that. He does not stoop so low.
No,
people
play
doesn't
dirty.
lie.
People play dirty with Labour, so it's time for us to play dirty with the Conservatives. And if Rishi Sunak really thinks that it's such reprehensible behaviour, then he shouldn't have put his signature on the advert.
Right
Because
now,
I went up to him and I pretended I was a big fan. I said, "Hello, Mr. Sunak, I'm a huge fan. I love everything you're doing. Can you sign my little pamphlet?" And he put his signature on it. That's why his signature is on it. We would not have been allowed to use it unless he had personally signed it.
So
He put his name on it. Maybe he should have read
he-
what he was putting his name to.
did he not recognise you when you sort of went up to him to get
No,
the
because
signature?
I am a master of disguise.
Right.
I can disguise my voice. I can disguise my face. I wore a little fake beard, and I put on a very convincing performance.
Could you?
Hello, Mr. Sunak. I'm
that-
a huge fan.
Is
Would
that-
you
were you
like to
playing
sign my little pamphlet, please, sir? A master of disguise.
Is that? Can I have that on record? Is that the voice that you used?
Yes, that's my character. That's
Is
my
he
little
South
character that I do
African?
in the back
What's the...
corridors of Westminster to get people to get what I want.
Or is he
It's
from
very,
New
do you not know
Zealand?
about it? This is famous.
See, there's been a lot of trying to hoodwink politicians at the moment, and I really don't like it. It doesn't sit well with me, Sir Keir. Doesn't sit well with me.
Sounds like you're a bit intimidated by my James Bond sleuthing skills.
Now, Sir
hello
Keir,
there.
I don't think
Works
we
every
need
time.
to intimidate anyone here.
You're right.
I have got to
regret
say...
saying intimidated. I just think it's pretty cool that I'm such a good master of disguise, and not enough people know about it.
Well, yes, it is very cool. I don't think anyone's denying how cool that is, and we'll probably
Thanks,
be getting a lot of emails about people asking what you like to hang out with, on the weekends, and I'll have to tell
what will
them.
you tell them?
Well, I'll tell them. Yes, it's pretty cool. We do some cool stuff.
Cheers,
we
mate.
both bought
Did you get
matching
my text
skateboards.
about going to the skate park on Sunday?
Yes, I did, and I'm so excited. I'm absolutely
Yeah.
ready to do it.
That's
Okay, well, I
rad,
think this is a good time as any to wrap up. So Keir, I hope you stand down. I'm going to put that out there. I hope you stand down with this
Wow.
horrible campaign.
Okay, well, I'm just going to keep speaking truth to power and asking the questions that need to be asked, Harriet.
Okay.
If you don't like hearing the truth, then what can I do? Do you think that, I don't know, the oldest tree in the world should be chucked in the bin?
No.
No,
come
I do
on.
not. No.
Rishi Sunak probably does.
Oh.
Mic drop. Boom.
It's obvious to everyone in the country who's in charge these days.
The government.
Liberals. Luckily, Professor Godfrey Matthews has written a book about it all by himself, called The Shits That Call the Shots, Exposing the Elites Who Are Ruining Britain. And we had him on because we are not afraid of debate.
And because you agree with him quite a lot.
That's beside the point. Let's take a listen. Godfrey, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. At last, someone.
Yes,
someone interested in interested at last.
Godfrey, we've been trying to get you on for ages. Haven't we, Producer Martin?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank
hard
you.
to pin down sometimes.
Thank you.
Very excited.
Yes.
Well, Godfrey, thank you for sending me your book.
The shits who
yes.
call the shots. Can I say
Oh,
that?
wonderful.
Or have they
yes,
successfully
you
banned
can
it?
on here.
All right.
No, nothing's banned on this show. This show is non-censored. So you're in a safe space here, Godfrey.
All
the
right.
woke left can't get you here. Yeah.
So says you. The point of the shits who call the shots, the elites who exposing the elites who are ruining Britain, is the reach of the woke is
Yes.
far further than we have given them credit for.
Oh, golly, really?
Yes.
Really?
Oh, far further. Who, for example, I mean, in the second chapter in the book, I look at very closely at who really holds the power. In
Yeah,
the UK.
right. And who does hold the power?
At the
Godfrey?
moment, well, it's the woke, it's the elites. It's the elites who hold it. I mean, if you think about where we used to think about power and where we now think about power, so if you take, for example, a single parent,
Yes.
comfortably some of the most powerful people in the country, we hear their
Really?
voices all the time. A junior doctor, the more junior, the better. I mean, on day one, they're practically, think of sort of a Sith Lord, Darth Vader, something like that.
Right.
They have enormous power. The disabled, hugely powerful because of the strength of lobbying groups. And we hear...
And they have their own toilets, which none of us are allowed anymore, you know?
Oh, no, we're not. We're not. But the entire trans lobby can meet in there. In the lobby, if you will.
It's so true. True.
I do. Hello, by the way, Godfrey, this is producer Martin. I think we spoke.
Hello, producer Martin.
Yeah, I do have to question, or indeed, there will be some people out there who do question your assertion that that it's not just the rich, powerful people that are in power anymore. Because it does
define rich. Can you define rich?
Yeah, rich in what,
people,
Martin?
Exactly.
In money is mainly what I mean.
Financially
people that
rich.
have, yes, lots of cash.
People with a lot of cash.
And perhaps
the cash
houses.
rich. The cash
Yes.
rich. You think they hold sway these days, do you?
Well,
you think,
be...
for example, I mean, Jacob Rees-Mogg, Somerset Capital, something in the region, personal wealth estimated 70 million thereabouts. Can Jacob Rees-Mogg get a fair hearing? Sure, he might be invited on Question Time or something, but can he get a fair hearing where he goes?
No, that's why he's had to have his own show on GB News, because no one will hear him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is
right.
This is the horrific, chilling effect of the new elites, the powerful elites.
God, it chills me. It chills me when you talk. It chills me, Godfrey. I mean, it's terrifying. And I'm someone who is, what Martin would class as cash rich.
Mm-hmm.
Am I in charge? No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
No, absolutely not. And the point about a lot of these people, of course, I mean, there's a unifying theme, is that every man jack of them was a Remain voter, and that fine. I don't blame anybody for mistakes they may have made.
It's very good of you, Godfrey.
What I do ask is that now that the news is in, as it were, that you put your hands up and admit that was a huge mistake. But that's a unifying factor. And what you won't find amongst those people are people outside of the academic elite.
Yes.
Clever people didn't vote for Brexit. And they now, all of them, I mean, I'm now a published author.
Yeah.
Do they include me? Do you think
That's
I get
so
invited?
true.
Have I been
That's
invited
so
to the Hay Literary Festival in Hay?
Godfrey, I'm going to guess no, you haven't.
Well, I may have been by now, but I mean, unless it's coming,
I see.
normally I keep quite a close eye on when
yes.
those sort of invites come in.
Post,
It may have come in while we're doing this, but thus far, no.
Wow.
Thus far, no. So the shits who call the shots will remain unread by the people of the Hay Literary Festival.
my
that
goodness.
should speak volumes.
And they'll never learn. It's almost like by not buying your book, they are oppressing you. They're suppressing your voice, Godfrey. And that just shows you how powerful the woke left is.
I'm literally being silenced. I'm literally being silenced.
Huge
I'm literally
of them
being silenced.
are
Yes,
not
okay.
buying your book.
I'm
Huge
literally
of
being
them.
silenced.
Okay.
It's sickening what happens because there are meetings between these people. There are meetings between the new elite. They meet. They socialize. They socialize, certainly. And do you think that a person like me gets invited?
Wow.
It isn't just the Hay Literary
parties.
Festival. Cheltenham have taken no interest.
Oh my goodness, Godfrey. God, it's like a conspiracy,
sad.
isn't it? It's like a conspiracy.
But I mean, I don't want to use the word conspiracy because I don't have to. But the nearest I got to a serious literary festival taking an interest in the shits who call the shots was that there was a reading of it at this year's boat race.
Right.
Yeah,
that's very nice.
Next to Putney Bridge. Well, it was lovely, but of course they're all Oxbridge people there,
Right.
almost entirely.
Okay.
Well, no, I mean, the thing is, I agree with you. I mean, I went to Oxford, and I honestly, the people I saw there, Godfrey, and I thought you're in danger. you're in danger, Harriet. You're in danger of these people calling the shots, wrapping their little wokey tentacles around you. I didn't even know what the word woke was back then. But
I'm glad.
I knew.
I'm glad. Yes.
Innately,
No,
I knew it was something bad.
Exactly, because it is innate, and this is in chapter 5 of my book. I've simply called it "What is Woke," because one of the things that's gone missing with all of this is a strict definition. People use woke pell-mell, and they sort of fling it around without anybody really knowing what it means.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I, in chapter 5, define very, very clearly what it means.
Can you give us a quick sort of definition of it now?
Of course I can. Of course I can summarize it. I mean, it's in part how the woke see themselves, isn't it? They see themselves as awake, and therefore we're what, asleep? Are we sleeping through this?
I don't think so. No.
Only in as much as the whole thing feels like a nightmare, lonely, frightened nightmare in which you wake screaming constantly. But the woke, the woke seek constantly to exclude voices like mine. I happen to be a man. Sorry.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, Godfrey.
A man.
I don't think you need to apologise for that.
Godfrey.
A straight man.
God forbid.
Sorry about that.
God forbid.
Sorry about that. Oh, a white. Sorry. Apologies.
I think.
Wow, they're not going to like that. The wokies aren't going to like that.
Excuse me. So and it's voices like mine, like ours, that get constantly startled. I mean, at least you're a woman.
Yes, I do hope it's slightly easier than you. Yeah,
right.
Well, these days, so much easier. And of course, now there's literally nothing stopping me at all from being one.
Yeah, that is so true. Godfrey, you could say you're one now. We just have to agree with you.
You have to take my word for it.
I don't think that's exactly how it works.
That's how it works, Martin. That's how it works.
I don't want to go to a female prison, but if I have to, I will.
And I think that's very noble.
Well,
and not at all a deranged thing to do. To pose as a woman to make a point. I think that's very noble.
It would absolutely prove my point. And I, as it happens, I have asked whether the literary festivals,
what did they say, Godfrey?
Having pretty much excluded me, whether some readings of my book in female prisons would be something they'd be interested in. I'm still waiting for the publisher to come back on that.
Well, now, Godfrey, we're almost out of time. And just before you go, are you worried because you haven't been afraid in this book to go after some pretty big names?
I've gone after the biggest names there are.
The biggest names there are.
Well, in the preface, the first 2 words of the preface are the words Anita Rani.
Wow.
That should tell you a lot.
Yes.
Though they're the first 2 words, they're the beginning of a list.
Wow.
That I've drawn up of people to keep a bloody close eye on.
Yeah.
James O'Brien, 3 more words.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Simply Red was in there, I noticed.
Simply
as well.
Red.
Yes.
Mick Hucknall. But not just Mick Hucknall, the whole of Simply Red.
And rather interestingly, Dua Lipa, which I thought was a bit left field.
Well, she is left field. That's my point. She's part of the chilling effect, the constant stifling effect. And if you think she isn't in league with characters like Lauren Laverne, who are constantly undermining people like me. I wrote to Six Music. They have a whole raft
an email
of
address,
other
isn't there?
stations, and I wrote to them, yes, and they said an outright no.
Oh my goodness!
To having me on to talk about the book, and you think
wow.
You think it isn't a conspiracy, but
but then that sort of thing rather implies that there is one, doesn't it?
Yes.
Well, listen, thank you. I can't wait for everyone to read your book. Please do read his book. It's in all books. Is it in all bookshops, Godfrey?
No, certainly not. No. There's a great
not
many
in
of them
any.
who according to my publisher and my literary agent, and I quote, literally won't touch it.
Okay, well.
Godfrey, thank you for coming on the show.
I've got plenty of time.
Now, this week, the Dalai Lama got into trouble for being a bit weird. And I'll be honest, I didn't know what to think about it, so it's lucky that Eshaan Akbar was here to give his hot and spicy takeaway of the week.
And do you think it helped?
I certainly do. Let's take a listen. Hello, Eshaan. How was your Easter break?
It was lovely, thank you. I had many eggs, many
Lovely.
chocolates, and my friends played with their bunnies.
What?
Oh, that sounds wonderful. Isha, I didn't know you had friends with
I
bunnies.
didn't know you get electrical bunnies these days.
I see.
No, Eshaan.
Well,
no,
right.
come on.
Well,
We're still technically in the realms of the Lord's holiday, so none of that. None of that.
I apologise.
It's all right. It's all right. Sometimes it's hard getting back into the mindset of work, and work this is, but it doesn't mean it can't be fun. So, Eshaan, tell us this week, what is your hot and spicy takeaway of the week?
Well, going from one apology to another, you may have seen that a certain Tenzin Gyatso, commonly known as the Dalai Lama, issued an apology this week for asking a young Indian boy to suck his tongue.
Oh,
in
dear.
full view of 100 other Indian boys and other cameras.
Oh, dear.
Now, in the context of this event, the Dalai Lama was in India talking to these 100 students who'd graduated from the M3M Foundation. And the kid offered a hug, and the Dalai Lama asked the kid to kiss him on one cheek and kiss him on the other, and then suck his tongue. And he had to issue an apology because everyone felt that this was grossly inappropriate. Now, my hot and spicy takeaway is this. Is it inappropriate, or is it just a cultural thing? You know, we need to be in a world that understands that different cultures do things in different ways. And I know the Dalai Lama, because he's an international figure, and there were cameras there, had to issue an apology. But actually, you know, in some cultures, that might just be something that happens.
So is this it's just a strange Buddhist thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and you know, Buddhists, they tend to have a tendency to do kind of quite odd things, you know.
You've
got the Dalai Lama doing this.
I feel I need to...
Suella Braverman doing everything she's doing with refugees. She's a staunch Buddhist.
What? No, sorry, Eshaan, what do you mean, Suella Braverman? She's not one of them, is she?
Well, she's a Buddhist.
She was a good Christian woman.
She's a Buddhist. Yeah, she's a Buddhist, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yes, yes. I mean, this is the thing. It is a different culture, but we've got to respect different cultures when they sometimes yield wonderful results.
You know, I've got to say I am feeling slightly uncomfortable, as you might expect, about using these sort of generalizations about any particular religion or culture. I mean, although, yes, it is true, Suella Braverman is a Buddhist, and I suppose she is practicing her Buddhism by ceasing to want refugees on our shores, that it doesn't necessarily represent the thoughts and behaviour of, an entire collective,
are you a Buddhist?
Millions of people. Myself?
Are you a Buddhist? Yes.
Well, I sometimes try to, I wear orange from time to time.
Okay.
That's just
so you're not a Buddhist, so you don't know what means a Buddhist thing, one. And number two, you can't reduce a whole faith group to a colour.
Well, I didn't.
That's true.
I was just
true, Martin,
looking at similarities that I just don't think they all want everyone to suck their tongue.
I don't know, actually, Martin. I met a Buddhist once at a party, and he was very strange, and he had lots of bracelets on, and he had like a little plait at the end of his head.
Did he ask you to suck his tongue?
Do you know what, Eshaan? He didn't, but he did with his eyes.
Ah, yes.
Right.
It's all in the eyes, isn't it?
Yeah, he did with his eyes.
Listen,
with his eyes.
I think I've got to say that there has been an apology issued.
Yes.
You know, as we have seen it play out in many different parts of society, accepting accountability and apologising for your behaviour is an important step. So I think we do need to
okay, well, let me put it to you this way, because, in recent years, I feel like children just get way too much attention, right? they get away with too much. The children nowadays, they're not like we were. Quite submissive. You had respect for authority. You had a deference to people more experienced than you. You may remember a few weeks ago, Lawrence Fox was saying that when he wants to kiss his son, his own son, why should he have to wait for his son to say yes? It's your son. You should be able to kiss your son. This is the Dalai Lama.
And also, he's 87, you know? I just think he's 87. He doesn't know what's going on. You know, he's 87.
Yeah, he's not far away from kicking the can. And if one of his dying wishes is to have a kid suck his tongue, surely we can just...
Yes, because he's 87.
I don't know if the behaviour itself should be encouraged to happen again or excused, but I mean... Well, he is 87.
He is 87.
And when you're 87, think about all the things that you just don't realise. You can't keep pace with the world. Maybe when he was a kid, an 87-year-old asked him to suck his tongue and, the Dalai Lama obliged.
And as Martin said, he apologised. He apologised. He's never done it before.
Yep.
He's never done anything like this.
Yep.
He's apologised.
Yeah.
So let's move on. When someone apologises...
Just move on. People should be allowed to grow from their mistakes.
They didn't let them move on, though, did they, Eshaan?
No, they didn't. Not at all.
They made their apology, and wasn't good enough for people, was it?
You make pariahs of people for making mistakes. We need more of a mistake culture in society.
Yeah,
you should be allowed to make mistakes. Yeah, whether that's you're in charge of the government's COVID response, whether you are accidentally, unknowingly sexually assault some women.
Yes,
in the past,
or
not knowing this.
You ask a small child to suck your tongue.
Your tongue. Yeah,
okay.
These are mistakes.
These are mistakes.
I am feeling both confused and uncomfortable, which I suppose
Martin, you've made plenty of
mistakes.
mistakes. I don't chastise you for your fashion choices, do
No,
I?
Martin.
What?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't do that, Martin, and he could.
I could.
I shop at Next and H&M and sometimes River Island.
But also, if you are a child in one of these poor countries like India, right,
Yeah.
and the Dalai Lama turns up, one of the most famous people in the world, right up there in today's world with KSI and Gemma Collins.
Yes.
You say,
yes.
the Dalai Lama asked me to suck his tongue. I must suck that tongue.
Do you think the child was all right with having to suck the
It's
Dalai
just like
Lama's
all the
tongue?
people who talk about, Michael Jackson's victim. It's Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
It's Michael Jackson, like the king of
that
rock.
That argument really isn't used enough, I think.
Yeah. It's not, Barry down the road. It's Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
I feel like we're going to get...
Listen, when that kid goes to school the next day, they're like, "Oh, Rajesh, what were you up to yesterday?" He goes, "Oh, you won't believe what happened." So, tell me what happened. I'm like, the Dalai Lama asked me to suck his tongue. You met the Dalai Lama. That's bloody amazing.
So you think, Eshaan, that actually this little boy will go to school and he'll actually have quite a nice time because he'll become popular.
Yes.
And although he might have had quite a sort of uncomfortable and maybe disconcerting time having to suck the Dalai Lama's tongue, it all worked out well when he got to be made
do you know what happened? You know that iconic picture
junior
of
prom king. He's
that
quite small.
iconic picture of Albert Einstein with his tongue out.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Now we can update him with the Dalai Lama.
Oh, that is very good. That is very good, Eshaan. Oh dear, you should tell that one on stage. That's very good.
Yes, the world needs to move on.
I think we've just about
what is very
offended
nice
everyone now.
is I feel this is one of those rare moments in Hot and Spicy Takeaway where we all agree. We all agree, don't we? We all agree that yes, he did we got a little child to suck his tongue, which is a bit weird. It's a
bit of a cultural faux pas.
A bit weird. But he's 87. He's 87. He's never done it again. And that little boy is going to go on and be a popular little lad at school, isn't he?
What a story.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, and he might need some help. He might not be very good at football or whatever they play over there. I don't know. It's probably something different, isn't it? But all's well that ends well, I say.
I'm not sure that is the moral of the story, but I am happy to not have to talk about sucking tongues for a while, hopefully, as long as no one else does it in the news.
Well, that's it for this week. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your enemies, and keep those questions coming to noncensoredpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you to Rosie Holt, Brendan Murphy, Eshaan Akbar, Jos Norris, Marcus Brickstock, and Ed Morrish. I'm Harriet Langley-Swindon, and we'll be back next week for more Non-Censored.